Hey,
We're
we're
back and we're
matching.
matching.
It was not planned.
Wow, yeah.
I had this prepared for like if we did a Valentine's Day episode, and yeah,
Oh,
it was during that hiatus.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I think I wore a
And
tan.
I feel like you're not a pink person normally.
No, not really.
I
But I
feel like
think I
pink is
bought
not
it
my
for.
go-to
I
either.
literally think I bought it for that reason. So I was in like the Victoria's Secret semi-annual sale. I walked in.
Oh, yes,
It
yes,
was
yes.
$20.
Heck
And
yeah.
this is where it only has this right here. So I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
I
and it's
love
like
that.
so. And I mean, I'm like, you can't deny the fact that their pieces actually last. Like, I have some
Mm-hmm.
sweatpants that
They're
they,
bags.
yeah, like they don't, yeah, the bags. I think we have one of the same ones. Like, yeah, I still use the bags. They used to get free stuff, and you can wash them, and they still stay soft and warm. And
Same, yep.
I just don't want pink, the word
Plastered on the,
plastered, yeah,
exactly. I
on
agree.
my
I'm
butt and
all, yeah. All brands that do that, I'm like, that's going to
yeah,
be a no for me.
yeah.
But
But
yeah, I'm went for pink.
yeah, and your little hat, so cute. I almost wore a hat too, but then I was like, let me just throw it up. So,
Um,
hi,
but
Prima.
we're back. Hi.
Welcome.
Again,
I'm,
virtual.
yeah,
Sorry.
I think it was good. No, it's okay. I'm Gladys,
And I'm Kristi.
and this is Dear
Dear Primas.
Prima. But yeah, I think it worked, and it's easy, it's convenient, and I think whatever right now, we're getting stuff out there. I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I agree. The
So,
consistency. We are
yeah,
consistent Primas. We're trying to
yeah.
be.
And I think that everybody, as in us and the Prima, stay more engaged when we're consistent. They don't
Yes.
forget about us in the dust.
I agree.
But so what's going on? Well,
You go first.
still pregnant when we're recording this.
I loved your story yesterday. You're like, update, can't see my feet still.
Cannot. So that's that. But for sure, by the time this one is posted, he will be here. He has no choice. He's getting evicted on Friday. So, and it's currently Tuesday when we're recording. So, I can finally say that. Last episode said that. Nope, still here. We're publishing tomorrow. Unless he's here tomorrow, but doubtful. We went for a long walk this morning, not feeling absolutely anything but tired. So, yeah,
Eek.
that's it. That's all it's up with me. But, oh well, everything is officially ready, though, to
There we go.
welcome him home. So,
There we go.
this weekend, I was just like, we had to have no plans, took full advantage. Antonio hung out with Adrian as much as he could so I can get things done. And I did not get ready at all, just stayed at the PJs all day, just getting stuff done.
Yep.
And it got
Yep.
done. A lot of weird little nesting, chores also, I've been wanting to do aside from baby. So when they say nesting, it's not just baby prep. It's like you see something, you're like, I'm doing it. We're doing this.
Yeah.
I wanted to do hang up this mirror that we had in the living room on the wall. It's all blank, and then just add a bunch of pictures. We have nothing hanging in this house, and so literally I told Adrian, it was in our room, I started cleaning it and all the things, and I'm like, we're hanging this now, we're doing it. And he didn't ask no questions. He started hanging it, and then I started hanging the other pictures that I had frames for, at least, and still to be completed. But that was one thing. Yesterday was brushing Goldie. Antonio brought the brush out. I'm like, you're right, she needs to get brushed. It looked like it was snowing in the backyard. Aside from baby things, those are the weird things that I've been wanting to do that finally just got it done.
Good. Good.
But yeah, so
One thing that you can one less thing to worry about.
yeah.
Always fun. Well, the Cougars, heartbreaking.
Well,
So you remember I don't know if you saw in the Duke game, whenever Houston played Duke to get into the championship game, they were showing fans, and I secretly love watching whenever they pan to the fans, and the fans are like,
yeah.
super heartbroken, and John's like, why are they crying? And I'm like, you're gonna feel that one day. Don't you
Yeah.
worry. Either you're gonna be in the game or you're gonna feel that emotion. And sure enough, last night he got heartbroken, and John was this close to punching a ticket and being like, "We're going."
Yeah,
He was
I did.
looking at tickets. He told Adrian.
texted Adrian I need help with this trip, and I'm like, I was like, is he really going?
Oh
And
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, I
He
don't know.
was
He never texted me
stressed.
back.
Yeah, he was stressing me out. He was like, I'm just gonna think about it. I'm just gonna think about it. I was like, all right, we just need to accommodate. We got too many kids. Like, are we
Yeah.
going just us? But he was
That's
like,
what I
no.
said. I was like, is he going by himself? Like, the kids are still in school. Like, is everybody
Right.
going? Like,
No, he was dead set on us all going. I was like, we can leave Bella. Like, she's good to stay. She won't know. But the boys, they would be for sure wanting
oh
to
yeah,
be a part of
yeah.
it. But yeah, we ended up not going, and he was like, damn,
That would have
what a
hurt
tough,
even worse.
yeah.
Yeah, I would have just drove
Yeah.
straight back home.
I know. That's what I told him. I said, man, that was going to be a long ride back home for
It was
sure.
tough. I didn't watch. We watched part of the Duke game, and then Adrian watched them all. And then I caught like the last 2 minutes of last night. Like, oh, I started it, and then I went off and started doing stuff, and then it came back and it was bad.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
kind
you
of
know
like
what?
how they won against Duke is like how they lost. Like,
Right. It's just devastating. And I feel like we grew up playing sports. So I feel like just feeling like how that one play, I mean, the poor kids probably like coulda, shoulda, woulda
dude,
type of
and they
thing,
kept
you know?
replaying it. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
hard. It was tough. And then I just saw the coach's face. Like, as a coach, too. Like, I feel like as a
Yes.
player, it hurts. But then as a coach, it hurts in a different way because you can't control it. Like,
Yep.
you're not out there.
Yep.
There's nothing you physically could have done.
Could have done, yep.
And his face, he was just like, just stone. Just,
Yeah.
like, he couldn't even
Stunned,
believe what he was
for sure.
looking at, you know? It was
Yeah.
just so sad. But that was
Yeah.
crazy. Adrian, I don't know if it's true, but, well, I know the Gators coach is like the youngest head coach, but then U of H would have been the oldest head coach. That's a crazy matchup.
Yeah.
The guy
yeah.
looked so young too. He didn't even look like he
So-
was 39.
No.
He looked way younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
It's crazy.
that was tough.
Yeah,
Sorry, Cougs.
yeah.
We have a lot of Prima Cougs out there. I know we have
We
a lot
do.
of Primas that went to U of H or
Yeah.
significant others. Yeah. That was
Shout
tough.
out Cougs next year. Next year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But that's
Oh, yeah.
pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think
Oh, do we want to talk about what we're going to talk about this episode? Is that what we were going to...
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay. Should we give a quick, like... Yes, I think so. Should we give a quick PSA that if you are not following us, to follow us on all the socials,
Yes. Yeah.
YouTube? If you're not watching, we're on
like
YouTube.
if you just watch for 2 minutes, give us a little thumbs up. Just give us a little like. If you come back and rewatch us, let us know. A comment is above and beyond, but a little thumbs up is great. But yeah, subscribe, and then our Instagram, I think we have a lot of primas there, and TikTok. We're trying to find new primas. Share with someone you think would enjoy the podcast, or share like a reel that has like a little snippet. We know we're chatty Cathy sometimes, but we promise, that there's good stuff that comes out of it if y'all hang
Little
in
nuggets
there.
here and there. Yeah. Yeah, we got some nuggets.
But for sure, follow us and just keep showing us the love. It's
Yeah.
nice.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, but this episode is going to be a juicy one.
Also, hold on, disclaimer. I think I may have the same bra on as last time that we were recording. However, that was, was it a week or 2 weeks ago?
I'm all about repeating the bras.
Yeah, but that just lets you know I actually am doing my laundry more often. We are starting, and we're turning a new page, So I have done that. Maybe we'll have to do another episode on catching up on what we said we were gonna
I like that.
on.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay,
so what are
so
we
it's going to
getting
be
into?
a juicy one. We are going to talk about, well, first off, maybe you can help us think of the name, Primas, but by the time you already hear this, it's going to already be out. But we were thinking the name be Dear Ex Prima.
Dear ex.
And why are we saying Dear Ex Prima? It's because, you grow, you evolve. As you go through these seasons of life, you end up, losing, growing new friendships, and just things happen. You evolve as a person and you outgrow past friendships. So we wanted to talk about what is the losing friendships, I guess we want to say, and or outgrowing friendships, boundaries. I know I'm a chronic people pleaser, and I feel like I've tried to avoid that more often or recently.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years at least. But yeah, just how we're evolving as moms and women, and but also at the same time, what happens when we lose those friendships.
Yeah, because I think especially women, why is it so common in women? I'm not sure.
Yes.
I don't know because I mean, for sure
Good
for
point.
like Adrian's core group of friends, like, or at least one for sure is like childhood, like fourth grade type thing. And this is like, so like best man still in our lives, like
Yeah.
super supportive of
Yeah.
us having kids now because he got there before, you know, and then if not, you know, for sure from high school, and then for sure every single friend that was made in college, you know, like for the most part,
Yeah.
it was like the same like 8 people, or so we're all, you know, like it's they just stay tighter, I think, for a longer while. Maybe
Yeah.
because they don't want to be taught. I don't know. I really don't know. That's another thing, you know, about.
Maybe they just don't get as deep. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't
definitely
know what it
not.
is too. Not as deep.
And Adrian for sure is not
Very
the deep
surface.
friend. Like, yes.
Yeah.
And I know he has one friend that I know has like another side to him. And I'm like, something like maybe you should approach that relationship differently. He's like, you don't get it. Like, you don't. I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I don't get it. It's not who you are. You're probably the friend he seeks for, like being the hard ass or giving him a hard time. You know, like
Yeah.
he's not. If he knows if he needs like a real heart to heart, he's not gonna come to you type thing.
Right,
You
right,
know.
right,
So,
right.
and I think that's like something that they understand. And maybe like women, we try to be everything. You
Yeah.
know?
That's
And
a good
maybe,
point.
and maybe if we feel like that one person, you know, like we don't look at different friends for different things. And once upon a time, maybe we did.
Right,
And as
right,
you grow,
right.
maybe you figure that out, you know? Man, I didn't even think about that till now.
Dang, mic drop. That's it. Episode over.
But anyway, I think I think a lot of primas, a lot of women experience this. And honestly, it starts, I think, first in high school,
Yep,
right? Like
yep.
the shift changes, and then for sure after high school, it's just if you go to college, if you don't, you know, I think if you go out of town for college, you get different friends because you're
Yep.
not in your hometown anymore.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so how do we want to start?
I don't know. I guess for me, the starting is hard. I know we have our points, but like, do we have like a good starting? You know, like how?
Yeah.
I think. So I guess not to like go super back, but I guess in high school I did have a big shift. I still had friends, but I had like the party friends that
Yeah.
I really couldn't party with that much, but when I could, I did. And then I had my athlete friends. And that was a tight knit group, you know. And then as we progressed in our sport, it only got smaller, and we were, I mean, inseparable our whole high school. And then by the time senior year came around, -1, you know, and we were down
Yeah.
to like a little bit, and then we graduated, and then we kind of all went our separate ways. A lot of the time, it had to deal with the boyfriend. Like there
Oh,
was
yes.
problems. Like either they didn't want them doing anything or hanging out, or they would of course get obsessed with each other. But you know, I think for the cases that I'm specifically talking about, one didn't want her to do anything else besides
Yeah.
hang out with him, and
And
then
this
the
was in
other
high
one,
school. Yeah.
prom. It was like from our like true four, our whole prom turned into just two of us and then another friend at a beach house. And it was just like we were gonna make like a girls' weekend, like, you know, and because the boyfriends were not coming, one chose not to come because of that. Because who was already like, you know, still in it. And
Yeah.
so that had a thing to do with it. And some of us stayed close and connected, but then they got down to like, it was so strange. It was like we still had three, but one of us we stayed really cool, and then the other one we kind of would just talk here and there, and then all of a sudden the one that we stayed really cool dropped off, and then the other one that I would talk to here and there
Yeah.
became like someone I would see, you know, quarterly or
Right. Right.
biannually when we were home for the holidays. And then you make college friends, and
So I will say this. I feel like, so high school is easy, not easy, but I'll say just classified as easier to maintain friendships, right? Because you're seeing those people for such a long period of time throughout the day, every day. And like you said, it gets very, like centralized based on whatever you're involved with, I think, in high school. And maybe that is your core set of friends that you grow with. But I also feel like when you go to college, then it becomes more of an effort thing. Like,
Correct.
I need to make an effort to come, if I'm coming back home, I need to make an effort to go and see these people. But then it's like, well, shoot, I'm coming back home because I'm seeing family, and then how do I prioritize family and then friends, and then family and friends, and then, all of the other things I need to get done whenever I do come home from college. That was always a struggle. But then now, as you're older, it's like, I don't know, it's so much as the time, because you could have friends from, that live in different states. It's as much as, in it, when you do get together, it's like, oh, just as if we were, back in high school, like the relationship is still the same, nothing's changed type of thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's so much as an effort. Like, I have two friends that I can think of on the top of my head. They are the ones that are either always sending reels, and I just know that they are always that person that's always going to somehow like have they're like the glue of the friendship, I say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if that one person went away or doesn't continue that same, like, sending the reels or then I don't know that I'd have that much interaction with that group of friends, right? Same thing with the other friend. If that glue of a person doesn't initiate, like, hey, we're going to go to hang out, we're going to go have girls' night this night, I don't know that it happens unless this one person does that.
That's true.
The initiative is there from those people. And I don't know that I'm the friend to make the initiation of those things. And I told myself each year, I'm like, I'm going to get better at just texting or like calling and just being like, hey.
A check-in, yeah.
Like a check-in. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, John, he said that 2 years ago, and I don't know how he does it, but every day he's got the same friend calling him to work every morning, FaceTiming him, and they've maintained, like, he lives in another state now, and they like always just, that's their thing. In the mornings before work, they call each other, quick 2 minutes, and then you're done.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I'm either listening to a book.
Well, you also have 3 kids you're wrangling in the morning. I mean, and I know you have a friend that does that too,
right.
But
right.
Comparing yourself to John isn't fair.
Oh yeah,
to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But
like, it's easy for him to do that and to keep those relationships with a lot of his friends. Like, I find myself thinking like, wow, I didn't even realize you still talk to that person. But again, it's just so surface level. It's not even like deep.
And
I don't know.
And I just think that there are not a lot of expectations either from either party,
True.
And I feel like a lot of you and me may be pretty similar, I think, in this aspect that, like, you talked about quality over quantity pretty much, like as in time with that person, not quantity or quality of friends, which is also a thing that I believe in. But
absolutely.
The friends that I have that I consider my best friends now are the ones that we don't text or call every day. We do send the TikToks back and forth because we're all chronically online like that.
Right, right.
But like the check-ins and all that, and even seeing each other. I mean, we're lucky if we do a quarterly meetup, know, and we're all in the city, with the same vicinity. It's just
right.
And I think we all have that understanding within one another, but on a drop of a hat, if I need something, if they need something, we're going to make the time, we're going to be there,
Yeah.
And I think that's my personality. And over time, I've just grown to accept that's who I am. And that's who my friends are. And if you're going to be a part of, if we're going to continue together, then we're going to have that same trait, Yeah, I don't know.
No, that completely makes sense. I agree. It's the ones that don't like rob you of your energy too. And that you feel like, oh shit, I need to be doing, like, I feel like I'm getting drained because I need to be putting forth all this effort for this person, but I shouldn't have to as a friend. I don't know.
And so I think that for sure, I think the change happens and is continuously happening, right? But I think that happened for me in college for sure. Like, I made a lot of friends out there, and then all of a sudden it just kind of, and when I say a lot, I mean like 4 or 5, like really good, that I would consider like that we were hanging out, like, because like you said, it's kind of similar to high school again, especially when you're in college. You may not all be living, together, but you can see each other, you're hanging out, you're going to parties on the weekends, it's like, all right, so there's people that of course I still keep up with and contact with, but that were like my best friends in college to now, it went from like 4 to 1, you know,
Yeah.
that has stayed. And one of them, like, it was like a instant bond. Like, we just hit it off. We were hanging out all the time. But she was like the needy friend. And I, at the time, I mean, it wasn't a problem, and it never is a problem, but
Right.
she knew that. She was like, I'm a clinger. Like,
Yeah.
but we spent all the time together. Even more than the friend that I'm with now, you know, and it also evolved around the guy, so in my case, it was somebody that I was like kind of talking to, but never really got serious with. It was just like a thing. It was like somebody that I knew beforehand. It was like a mutual friend between us that I had met out there. And then like half a year or the next year goes by, and this girl, turned out he had gone to UTSA to chase a girl, and she was no longer there anymore. And now she comes after we've been all hanging out for like a year, and she knows one of the girls from like back home, whatever. So they decide to live together, and they pull in my other friend that was like the clinger, like really close. And my dad didn't want me living off campus at the time. And so that's how I lived on campus again with Dee. And so the three of them started living together. And at this point, I'm already with Adrian. Like, this literally lasted like a semester of like, you know, like a first little college fling type of thing. And so when she comes in the picture, I'm like, I mean, he wanted you, he's got you. I'm already way moved on. It's a thing of the past. But it was like, I don't know, on her end.
There. It was still like a thing to her.
Yeah. And so they started living with her. And so, of course, awkward, right? Like, it was just weird. And then if you're making it awkward, it's going to be even more awkward. Yeah. But we still hung out, like, the girls and I, and we but never, like, there. And which is, like, a big thing, you know, going over to each other's places and hanging out. And it just wasn't the same. And so that was the reason it all kind of just ended up fizzling out. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not going to fight for the attention or to get invited over or you know. And I think there was a few instances where Dee was invited and I wasn't, type of thing. And even though I had a boyfriend, I had Adrian, but like, if the girls made plans, the girls made plans, you know. And we were always really good about that. Like, he did his thing, I did my thing. There was Halloweens that we did our own thing, and then we would come together at the end of the night, type of thing. Yeah, I think that was just like really unfortunate. Yeah. So I think with those two in particular, there's like no bad blood, you know, but that was from my college experience. Yeah. There was never like the closure, you know, like the friend breakup.
Yeah.
And
is there ever really though? Do you think that ever like actually happens?
I think for somebody that I know that went through something similar, it's from like a childhood friend, I think there was some kind of like, look, it's just apparent that we're growing apart, or and it's not gonna work out. Literally, it's a breakup, right? And sometimes a little bit harder because you've clearly been with that person a little bit long, like, you know, that relationship is built from a lot longer. And I think it's very mature. I do, but it also involves both people being mature and like understanding.
Yes. So. Well, and I think like, so I was going to say two things that came to mind whenever you were telling your story. One is I feel like girls are very cliquey, and sometimes as an adult and in college, it makes it harder to make friends kind of when you are walking into friendships that are already established, and or like an adult, same thing, like, you know, you're walking into a friendship that already has this like what am I trying to say,
history.
Like a history, exactly. Yes, a history. So going into college, if like, it's easy, the easiest way to make friends is obviously getting out there, and or a roommate. Like, I know a couple of my friends, they were college roommates randomly, but I went to college with a friend that was from middle school, and we roomed together. But I started having a boyfriend. I was spending time with my boyfriend, and then she also had a boyfriend from back home, and then she would go and like visit. So it was never like we would come home and be with we would see each other, but it was like in passing, only during the week, and then we would go about our day, and then I just started living with John.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it's hard. I think too that friendship also. I mean, maybe if now we lived closer, I think we could reconnect, but that was a different. We were just at different points in our lives in college at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And then what else was I going to say about the clickiness? Dang it. I don't know what I was going to say with the clickiness, but there was something else that came to mind.
But it is true. And I think, and we both went to college out of town, but like, it just, like, it turned out a lot of the people I met, like, they ran in the same, like, that's kind of how I met all of them, right? Like, they all connected to each other in some way. There was somebody from Paras that went out there, and he knew the girls, he knew this, he knew that, and then those girls knew D, and then, like, it just kind of, like, trickled down, and then those, even though they may have not gone to the same high school, but they're all from the same area, they knew of each other. So, in a sense, I was, like, that new addition, right? But it was just, like, but I also had that one connection that, we went back. So, it is super duper hard, walking into something like that. And girls are just not always the most inviting.
Yes, that's another thing. I feel like it's hard to, like, sometimes I remember in college, it was like, so I'm trying to think of like my roommate situation. First one was from back home, and then we roomed together. But then my second year, I think I met somebody in a class and thought that was like we were gonna room together, and then we had a third rando, which the rando was not the way.
We might have to do like a story time with that, because we have some rando stories too.
Oh my god, I think that would be a really, really good episode. Golly, I always wonder what that person's up to in their life. But then my third and fourth year, I think I ruined by myself, and I loved that even more. But I wish I would have had like a consistent roommate going forward. That, I don't know, just it was like, it felt like home. And then I did have that with Ginny after college, that we did live together, and that was a great like timing of life. And that's also whenever I reconnected with a middle or elementary school friendship, Danielle, who is a close friend of both of ours. But I feel like I always try to make it a point to be like, oh, well, whoever is friends with me, how can I like piece them to make a bigger or like a welcoming friend group of all of my people? Because I feel like everybody should get along in all of my friends. At a moment in time, maybe that wasn't the case. I don't know. But I feel like we never really did have, or maybe we did try to have a talk, but it wasn't like just whenever friendships, or whenever it did not work out, that the talk could have been handled a different way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so moving forward, no, just to keep going with like because I feel like we're being a little vague right now. Well,
oh yes, okay, you're right.
So now I think we're both out of college. So I had that, the two friends fizzle out, which I thought they were going to be lifelong, continue to be. And like I said before, there's no beef there. Like we can, if we wanted to reconnect, we would, whatever. It's just like surface level now, and that's fine. There's no bad blood. It is what it was. And so then, and aside from that, there was another girl that I met through this one girl. They worked together, at the mall in San Antonio. And so then I met that girl, and it just turns out that other girl went to high school with Adrian. And so that's how I met Adrian. So in my head, sometimes it's like, you meet people for a reason. Right. And it's like that quote, like, for a reason, for a season, and then sometimes it's to connect you to other people, And so, I mean, that's how upset can I get out of somebody that I no longer talk to like that, but I've met my husband through,
Right.
And so, and then that third party, we still keep up. I mean, we were never like the best of friends, but we've always kept up through social media and whatnot. So that's a big, that was a big, like, reason I feel like that I
Yeah.
had that time and met those people, and and so now after after college, so we did reconnect. I did reconnect with two from high school after that. Like, one, we just kind of fell out, like, not fell out, but it just kind of just all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but lives tore us apart. But that one that chose a boy over prom weekend, she came back, and like we all had always kept in contact and whatnot, and we got real close again, like once I went back home, and she was going home, she was still in school, but we kind of, every time she was in town, we made it a point to hang out. And fast forward to now, we're getting married, and my wedding was the last time that I talked to her. And it's like, I don't know, why wait until a big day that you're involved in? I didn't have bridesmaids, but I had the girls like get ready together, and the pictures. And she's right there, right next to me, and all the like, which this one I'm still not processing. I'm kind of like over it,
grieving it. It's kind of like you're grieving it, because anytime you think of like, or a memory pops up, or let's say wedding pictures that you have, and let's like John or Jaden ask like, oh, and they're naming each person. It's like, oh, I've never actually met this person, or they don't have that relationship with that person. It's kind of sad. Yeah. So you are kind of grieving it in a way.
That, and I think it's also like just what like I think at that point, the thing is that on my end at least, I think the friendship was like continuing because of pure history, because of the history that we had, because it really got to we literally were living super close to each other, and just turned into like we'll see each other on like a birthday celebration type of thing. And we were growing apart. Like, that's the thing. Our interests were different. I don't know. Like, she was going through a lot of ups and downs, like, with different things. Not always the most open and honest about a lot of things that, and I feel like if you can't be open and honest with a really good friend, then, like, what's left already? And I had been there, like, through some really hard times for her. And then, so it's just like, why let it get... Because things were already acting a little funny before getting to the wedding, the bachelorette party, things like that. Just why let it get to that point? And... I don't know. She left the wedding early. Like, it was an out-of-town wedding, and she drove home 3 hours. Like, it just didn't make sense. Yeah. And so, and then just, that was it. Like, of course, they'll, like, comment, or, like, they'll like something, or, and I got pregnant, congratulations. And it just, I didn't entertain it. I think I just maybe liked it. I wouldn't respond, because I'm like, why? Like, because at the time, for sure, I felt hurt. And I was just like... why come back when it's a special event or something, just if you don't want to be involved, or you don't want to be a part of my special moments, or whatever, farewell. And so I think at one point, I think I had told Dee, like, if she comes and says something for, I don't know what occasion it was, I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to respond with, thank you so much, I appreciate it, but you don't have to, because it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel real. Like, don't bother, without being like, not to be harsh or upset, but like, it's like, it's okay. Like, it is what it is. And I think that's the one. Most people I would welcome back into my life, like, to reconnect if things. But I think that's one that I'm just like, I don't see the point.
And it's sad because. I kind of feel similar, but I think I would welcome it back. But it's just sad because it's already missed so much. Which, if I were to make a friend tomorrow, it would be the same thing. Like, why would I hold that against that past friendship where I was? I don't know. I just think there was a lot of instances where we could have had talks or like kind of just put it all out there, and we didn't. And maybe there was a reason for that. But at this point, like, I don't feel any, like, bad blood
Yeah.
that it shouldn't need to have any like negativeness, oh my
Negativity.
god, negativity to it, or associated with it. I think it was good while it lasted as a friendship, and it just ran its course. And at this
Yeah.
point, it sucks that we can't. I guess we're civil whenever it comes like to around
Because
obviously
there's
friendship,
mutuals. Yeah.
right, but it's awkward. It's very awkward, and I feel like I'm not an awkward person, and I don't like to feel awkward in those scenarios. So in instances where it is like a scenario where we are getting together, and I know that we're both going to be there, I like acknowledge that they are
Yeah.
there, but is that reciprocated a lot of the times?
Yeah.
No. So then if it's not around that group of friends and it's with another group of friends, I typically just avoid the scenario.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I don't know, it's not.
It's protecting your peace. I mean, that's like a
Yeah.
popular phrase, but it's true. And I think that's like one thing as we grow older that we start to like, and how you kind of mentioned of being a people pleaser, I think there's a little bit of, especially in the woman, a little bit of that in everybody. Not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like you're okay with kind of being uncomfortable in certain situations if
Right.
it makes everybody else comfortable, but then you
Yeah.
come to that where you're like, you know what, I've at least, you've tried on your end, and like, why feel this type of way if I don't have to?
Right.
The party
Right.
must go on regardless. Yeah.
And it does go on. That's the thing. That's the sad thing about it. It does go on. And so there's two friendships that I know of that I have either been like a blow up both times, but of the two, one of them, we are still to this day best friends. And I would do, like, it's the same thing. We lived around the corner from each other, and we we came from a big blow up to then rekindling it at a mutual best friend's wedding. I think it just maybe took a bit of alcohol and got it all out in a big cry sesh. But at the end of the day, I know that, I don't know, we're very different in personalities, but we both, I don't know if it's just the season and that we were in at the time and the season that we were going to, that we both knew that we just needed each other. I don't know. It's really weird how life works out, and the friendships that are still around are still, intact to this day, and how they impact your lives. And
I think the
life.
important part is if both parties want to have
Right.
a relationship,
Right.
like, it takes both. If one wants to keep or rekindle a friendship, or like, circle back or whatever, both have to want that, and it can't
Yeah.
just be one-sided. And I think that's
Yeah.
kind of like, my personality has always been like that. Like, unless you've done something super dirty, or which I've never experienced,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, I'm usually, even if we don't talk, like, I'm okay with, bringing it back. And yeah, the other one from high school. Yeah, we've hung out a few times, but we keep in touch a lot now. We talk a lot.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
Sorry. That I feel like both of our personalities and the people that we are friends with, our friendship type and our like energy also doesn't need a lot of energy back. Like, we don't need the people that we're friends with to be like, oh my God, give me all of your time and all of your energy, and I will consume all of your, like, I'm not going to call you and be on the phone with you for 30,000 minutes and the entire day type of thing. Like, we're both very similar, and where we're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that was even like before, like, for me, that was even before having a kid. Like, that was just
Yeah.
like my
Yeah.
personality too. It's nice, I think, to have somebody check in, and vice versa, right? But
Yeah.
like you say, it's not like a everyday type of thing, because
Right.
work, life, everything is just, whether kids or no kids, everybody's busy in their own, doing their own
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
And that does make it hard, though, if somebody does need that constant attention, or feels like your friendship, or like, though it's pretty much like a love language of friendship,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
feel like they're getting what they need out of you, because that's what they require, and that's
Right.
just not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a big part of that, like, moving on, is also like realizing what friends like cheer you on, right? When your successes are happy for you, or like with your different milestones, different phases of your life that you're in, versus those that kind of take a back seat and you kind of question, like, or you can feel, you can just feel.
They're the ones, yes, they're the ones that are like doing this and never double tapping, double tapping.
Yeah.
They're just
and there's
watching.
I don't know, and I feel like, I mean, not to be like calling nobody out, but no, but I feel like for instance, this podcast, like I feel like both of us are always so shocked at like the ones who support us, like a constant support, not saying that you got to be like watch every single episode to the beginning to end. It's just, I don't know, and that goes deeper.
Right,
but.
right. No, I agree. There's something about like, isn't the saying where it's like a stranger will cheer you on, but the people that know you or something won't clap for you because they don't like that you're something like
yeah, I've heard that, and even, or my mind goes also to like real estate, or like a stranger will become a client before a friend becomes a client, type of thing, you know, like I don't know, it's just something that,
which is funny because I just had somebody that I helped the other day, which I like typically don't do residential, but there was a past neighbor, and he was like, man, it'd be so much easier to call up a stranger and ask them to go, you know, for their time, because I feel like I'm bothering you. And it's sad that it feels like that to them. And I haven't tried to make him feel that way, but it's like, maybe that's where the real, like the business part of it comes from, because you can't put a boundary or a line on business and friendship, and or like how do you cross it, or
it does
how
get
do you,
tricky, to navigate sometimes, depending on the scenario,
right,
for sure. But yeah,
podcast. I mean, come on. It's not.
Can we get a repost? Can we get a little share? You know, like.
Maybe we're not relating to them. Maybe we're not speaking to you, which is fine. But
I know you know someone. Be like, I don't watch them, but I know you got some kids somewhere. Here you go. But you know, but sometimes it's like there's those that you, I don't know, you know, or you see supporting others, and then you just feel like, where's that, you know, same love type of thing. But I mean, you definitely feel that, and it's hard when it's like somebody that's like a close friend, and I think there is a fine line. There's a fine line of someone that is genuinely, you hate to use the word envious or whatever, but that, and then there's also those that just are going through their own shit, you know, like, and they don't have it in them, like they don't realize they're doing it. It's not intentional.
Right.
And I went through a little bit of that. I feel like on my, like, feeling that, but I went on the side of grace, you know, like showing them grace at the time in my own way. Yeah. Again, never had a full sit down conversation. I maybe on that, you know, because it's just so hard. Like you just, it was a friendship that I didn't want to lose. It was someone that I knew they wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for XYZ. You know, it was like timing is just not in our favor. Yeah. You know, I'm going to let them go through what they need to go through. I'm going to include them in what I can. But I did also set, you know, I think a few boundaries for myself so that I wouldn't get let down on certain emotions or reactions. Right. And so, yeah, it happened around wedding time, and it did also kind of come out a little bit during first pregnancy. And it's also like the relatability, you know, like, okay, like you don't know till you know. And then, but I will say this next time around, it's been completely different, you know, and so, and they may be, you know, they're in a different space, you know, and it's just, I think you can tell the difference. So I feel like what I want to go there, what I wanted to make a point about that is, I think, like, you know what friendships are worth fighting for, because it does take a little more one one-sidedness, one for a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there may be some times that you're just like, I've done this consecutively for X amount of time. I'm just going to wait and see. And it may come, it may not. But I think at that time, it's also like, if they don't do anything, I mean, you have a feeling in your heart. I think in friendships, you use your heart. You can't always use your brain, right? And, you know, stuck through long enough that things just came back around and everything's all fine. There wasn't like a big talk that needed to be had, as long as you knew, you take account in what's going on in their lives too, you know?
Right.
Sometimes things don't have to be said.
Right.
And things can get back on track. And yeah, I think that's where I wanted to go.
Yeah. Well, Primas, I hope we weren't too vague, but also too just kind of wanted to talk through, and this maybe is a little therapy session for, you know, friendships that kind of don't last and get to the point where you outgrow them, and maybe we can go deeper. Maybe we went enough. I don't know.
I mean, I think I feel like I said as much as I could, because I think that's just how they ended. Like, I don't know.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, there wasn't like an event that happened. Yeah. And it literally sometimes is outgrowing, which I will admit that's what happened, you know, with the wedding friend. And then college friends, it's just the name of the game sometimes. Like, you know, like it just, I mean, a little bit of drama mixed in there, but like exterior factors, you know.
I think it stings a little bit more when it's going like through such a big milestone that you know they could have been a part of, and or like you said, being introduced to your kids is a big deal, because that's almost a mirror, like just you're watching your kids meet people and enter their life. Just it's a whole thing whenever you mix kids into it.
Yeah, and I haven't had that yet. I feel like, you know, and I mean, if that happens, I'm down to just my prima here, but but would you say that most of your core group is college friends?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. If not college, then high school, but even then high school, like
they're friends, but they're not like, I mean, you know, like, they're the ones that you know you're always going to have their back and your back, but the frequency of seeing each other is not there.
No. Yeah.
So, Primas, if you have gone through these, I think it's just part of growing, unfortunately. It's very sad, but hopefully you know, if you get that one tried and true, you know, it's all about quality over quantity the older you get.
For sure. Yeah.
And I think, you know, having those people that make you feel good about yourself and that you feel like you have somebody that you can lean on when you need to in the hard times, not every day, that's what's important. And let us know, have you had to have breakup talks with your ex-primas?
Yeah.
Your ex-friends? Like, I don't know.
And if so, what did you say, and how did it
initiate? Like, so we need
maybe
to
you can help another prima that's going to, or is at the point, because I feel like sometimes too, like you said, these boys, they have a lot to do with the prima breakups.
Yeah, don't let a guy, you know, and that's what, and I always tell, like, because, you know, one of my besties, she's single, like, we're complete different seasons of life, like, complete opposites, and sometimes that is difficult, but I'm always like, I am always down, and her sister always knows, like, if Claire's coming over, Claire's gonna be out, and
in the streets,
look, I'm down to be out and about. You know, quarterly is that's as much as she goes out, but I'm like, you know, invite me, you know, I'm still down to go, and I will party
me too.
than
we can redo a bachelorette.
Oh, that would be so fun. That group, that would be fun. But, you know, so just because we must thank y'all for listening. We hope some of this resonated with you, maybe. I feel like we've all gone through a prima breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not you.
Happens.
No.
Never. Oh, you should end it at that.
Alright.
But we'll see you next time, Primas.
Adios.
Adios. We're back.
We are here. We have gone through 8 hours. And
Technical difficulties.
yes, but hopefully it's gonna work out this time.
The sun is down. It's already been a minute since we
I
hopped
know.
on.
Yeah,
So-
hopefully the brains are still working, but I think, we're going to push through and get
Yes.
this out for the Primas.